I greet you all. My name is Miss Anzette Thwala. I'm an Office Practice Level 4 lecturer. This is your textbook, TVET first. Here is your publisher. We are on Module 2 for pages 17 to 14. So these are your resources that you'll be needing for this lesson. These are your outcomes or objectives, which is information source and organizational procedure for creating business reports. And here are your learning outcomes or objectives. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to compare reports and their purpose, recipient, and frequency. Identifying company procedures for obtaining information for reports. Information resources and their level of confidentiality. Okay, so on the previous lesson, you've learned about different types of reports and their layouts and information that each report should entail. So in this lesson, we'll be learning more about the purpose, the frequency, the level of confidentiality when it comes to the reports, and so forth. But let us start off with comparing the reports. Okay, so on the left hand side, we've got all types of reports that we've learned about, and then on the next column, the purpose of this performance report. What's the purpose of performance reports? Is to evaluate staff performance and also to determine incentives and promotions as well, if that staff member is worthy of getting a promotion or not. Who should be a recipient of this report once it has been done? It should be a manager, supervisors, individual, or employee. So an employee should get this report as well, just to see how he or she performed. And then the frequency of this report, how often is it needed, or how often should it be done? So it should be annually, which is yearly, or biannually, which is twice a year or every second year. And then we've got incident reports. Again, we've got a purpose. Why are we having incident reports? To objective information, to submit evidence, or to have evidence of what happened or what has happened, to also have factual details. These are the recipients of these reports, either incident or accident reports. So it's the managers, the supervisors, the medical experts as well. And then the frequency, how often? So occasionally. Remember, it is an accident and an incident. So you should submit these reports when per situation or when it happens. And then we've got a progress report. What is the purpose of it? Again, it talks about the job status. How far are you with the job that needs to be done, or how far are you with the project? Here we've got project monitoring. Who should have this report, the manager or the supervisor? The frequency, again, how often you should submit this kind of reports is frequently or as per request. And then we have the long or formal reports. This one, the purpose of it is to research results and also detailed findings, to also have solutions to the problem. Who's the recipient? The general public or external readers. The frequency, it should be occasionally or as the results are available. And then we have the feedback. The feedback, the purpose of it, why are we having the feedback report, is to give a final overview of what has happened. And then it should have a detailed summary, and also you need to be honest about the pros and the cons of what has happened. It can be an activity, it can be a project, it can be a task, whatever the case might be. And then the recipient, again, the employees, the management as well, and the supervisors. The frequency, when is it needed? On completion, so when it's done. And then we have the main factors of report preparation. So when we talk about these factors, or when preparing a report, you should be asking yourself these 5 important questions. What are these questions? Like, who is requesting the report? Who are you writing the report to? Who is the recipient of the report? How often the report should be created? So we've learned that on the previous slide as well. Okay, so let's not dwell too much on this one because we've learned so much about all of this question on the previous slide. Let's move on to the next slide, of which is the source of data and information. Okay, so what are we talking about? The source of data and information. We are talking of the primary information, the secondary information, the internal sources, and the external sources. Okay, so these information you should have and you should gather when it comes to preparing of a report. So let's start off with the primary information. So primary information is the information that you start off from scratch when 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 doing your research or when you're writing a report. So it is a primary research that it can be costly. Why is it costly? Because you start off from scratch. For example, we have interviews and surveys. And then when it comes to secondary information, it's the most logical place to start collecting data. Why is that so? Because you are starting off on something that's already there. If you can see there, it says it is an info. It includes information that's already been printed and published, and also being saved, like monthly and quarterly reports based on departmental information and internet searches. And then we also have internal information sources. So these are the sources that you'll find within the organization. And then external, it's information that you'll find outside the organization. And then we move on to our next slide, of which is a level of confidentiality. So most reports that are produced for a company or other legal entities are considered private and sometimes even strictly confidential. So you should consider these confident this you should consider these factors when it comes to report writing, and you should not share with anyone, even if it means with your colleagues as well. What are these legally confidential information that cannot be shared with anyone, or that you consider as confidential when you do your report writing? So it's business proposal, business reports, new product developments, minutes of meetings, customer list, price list, employees' personal information, and market strategies. I'm sure there's a whole lot more legal confidential information that you can list on, or you can add on these that I've just read for you, which when you write on your exam, it cannot be marked in as incorrect as long as it's related to the subject matter. So that's all for today. Thank you. Have a lovely day.